Right. Mr. Vikri, stay with us. In fact, we'll talk about the EU now. Well, the EU's industry chief announced that the bloc will reduce steel imports by an additional 15% starting in April to prevent a surge of cheap steel from flooding the market. European steel producers grappling with high energy costs and competition from Asia and other regions have warned that the EU risks becoming a dumping ground for low-priced steel, threatening the survival of Europe's steel plants as Washington's tariffs reshape global trade flows. To address this, European Commission Executive Vice President Stephanie Sejourne, responsible for shaping the bloc's industrial strategy, revealed that the first step would be tightening import quotas known as safeguards for various steel grades beginning the 1st of April. This measure aims to reduce steel imports by approximately 15%.
Le 1er avril, nous renforcerons la clause de sauvegarde actuelle. Nous visons une baisse allant jusqu'à 15% des importations. Je reviendrai s'il y a besoin sur le mécanisme de modification de cette clause de sauvegarde que nous allons rigidifier dans ses principes et son application.
Right, Mr. Raymond Vikri still with us. Mr. Vikri, it seems that the impact, or rather the unlikely impact that Donald Trump was not hoping for when it came to the tariff war, has started to show some semblance and some color around the world, starting with the EU.
Well, you're exactly right. I mean, this is a perfect example of why you need international norms and rules to govern international trade, just as you do in regard to security matters. It is not the case that you can simply do what the Trump administration has done, and that is take a sledgehammer to the World Trade Organization, to the multilateral approach, which tries to even out and provide a rules-based system for international trade. Now, what has happened here, again, is a perfect example of the kind of knock-on effect when instead of operating according to rules, you just say, America first, whatever is good for America is what we're going to do, and the rest of the world can take the hindmost. Here, the European Union is trying to help its steel and aluminum manufacturers because they have had a huge tariff placed on them by the United States. And so what they do is say, well, we'll cut down on imports from China and India, other places, and that will help our steel manufacturers. Well, what happens, of course, is then you have a disruption of trade, and you have a series of economic fortresses which do not operate in an economic manner. The theories of comparative advantage show, and it has been proven, that international markets properly regulated lift all boats and provide for greater prosperity. But when you operate on a system of America first, last and only, India first, last and only, EU first, last and only, China first, last and only, what you do is have a system which completely narrows the market, and instead of providing for greater prosperity, which leads to greater peace in many instances, you have a fragmentation and the likelihood of a worldwide depression. So this is an example of it. I'm sure it wasn't anticipated by the American policymakers, but even worse, probably not even taken into account in terms of caring. The idea seems to be, again, from Trump, that somehow we can each be islands unto ourselves and not interact with others economically, politically, security, and that there will be a few great empires which will control the destiny of mankind. It's a very unfortunate approach, and this is just the latest example of a knock-on effect.
Mr. Vikri, I also wanted to put into perspective while you were speaking, you know, China is moving in the South China Sea. They're getting closer to Taiwan. There seems to be all the makings of an attack there. The United States is already directly or indirectly involved in the Ukraine and Russia spat as well. And of course, Hamas and Israel, the Americans are involved there as well. Donald Trump had promised that he will be pulling the Americans out of unnecessary wars. That doesn't seem to be happening. He seems to be going deeper into trade wars that in most likelihood will benefit the enemy number one here, which is China.
Well, I couldn't agree more. After World War II and the devastation created there, we put into effect a system which is embodied in the United Nations Charter and institutions all the way from WTO to IMF to international security organizations to try to have a system in which violence was not used to settle disputes. And that is, of course, the essence of civilization. And when you take a sledgehammer to these institutions, who do you benefit? You benefit those who do not operate according to rules of law and international norms, who share an authoritarian vision. And that has been the road that, particularly since Xi came into power in China, to be the road that China is taking. That is a road which leads to disaster. I think that we had hoped that President Trump, because he did say that he was going to end conflicts on day one and usher in peace immediately, that at least there were some instincts there that would move the world toward peace and stability. But of course, exactly the opposite is happening. And for great democracies like India and like the United States has been, this is a very unfortunate approach. China is not going to stop if these kinds of institutions are destroyed. What they're going to do is to say, well, yeah, we were right all along. We'll take territory, whether it be Arunachal Pradesh, whether it be in the South China Sea, and we will operate again on a China first policy and won't try to build peace and prosperity throughout the world. So yes, you're absolutely right. This is, again, an example of this is not the right approach.
Mr. Vikri, always a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for those deep insights and